All right, good evening, everyone. We'll get the city council meeting started. We'll call to order. The first order of business is Mr. Ray Jackson from Assembly of God will be here to lead us in the invocation, and we'll have the pledge right immediately following.
Council, Mayor, I appreciate you inviting us to come and invite the Lord to give us wisdom in all of our deliberations of this council. So without further ado, we'll ask the Lord to come. Dear Lord, we on our own can't do it, but you can bring wisdom into our minds through the Holy Spirit. So we invite you to come and sit on our council so we can make good decisions and important decisions for this, not only this city, but for this whole county. And so we invite you wholeheartedly to come and give us your wisdom. And we ask it all in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Thank you, Matt. All right, let the roll call show that everyone is present.
So noted.
Regarding the minutes, Mayor McFarland, I move approval of the council regular meeting minutes from March 5th, and except for the record, the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board minutes from January 18th, Arts and Humanities Commission from February 8th, and the Youth Commission from February 10th as they're presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, minutes have been approved. Claims against the city, D1.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of claims against the city for February 28th through March 13th as presented.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed?
Abstain.
Okay. Note the least abstained on that vote. Okay, item E, meeting agenda. Any change from staff?
We have none, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, well, I'll make one change, and I'm going to move the item N, which is reports. I'll move it up to proceed item M, which is our executive session.
Mayor McFarland, move for approval of the regular agenda as corrected. Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The meeting agenda has been approved. Special presentations, we do have one this evening. So how do we want to proceed on this?
Mr. Mayor, we've asked our interim city judge as one of his final acts to swear in our new judge. So if Mr. Mitchell and Ms. Juarez can come up to the front here, they've got the loyalty oath that they'll read, and he'll swear her in.
That's a good thing.
You're holding us up, Bob.
He mentioned he has the record for the shortest city magistrate in history of Casa Grande. Okay. What are they? That's the press release for. You can just read it. Have enough copies.
Is he still working?
First of all, I want to say that it's been a pleasure for me to serve the city and the city council these last 2 months, and it's also a very humble honor to swear in our next city judge. So
3 months.
3 months? Time flies when you're having fun.
First of all, Mr. Mitchell.
Raise your right hand.
Wait.
Yes.
I was just say thank you for filling in. We do appreciate it, so.
Well, thank you.
Before I forget to thank you.
Please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Diane Juarez,
I, Deanna Juarez,
solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the laws of the state of Arizona,
and the laws of the state of Arizona,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same,
to the same,
and defend them against all enemies,
and defend them against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
and that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
that I will faithfully and impartially discharge
the duties of the city judge
the duties of the city judge
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
You look a lot better in that than Mitchell did.
Thank you, Judge Juarez. How's that sound? All right. All right. Next on the agenda is consent agenda items. All items listed with an asterisk are considered routine matters and will be enacted by one motion, one roll call vote of the council. There'll be no separate discussions of these items unless a council member or member of the public so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in its normal sequence of the agenda. Does anybody have anything that you want to pull off?
I'd like to pull G4.
G4. Okay. Anything from staff or audience? Okay. All right, then I'll accept a motion to
Mayor
approve with-
McFarland, I move for passage of the consent agenda with the exception of G4.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please, Gloria?
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbon.
Yes.
Councilmember Portson.
Yes.
Councilmember Varela.
Yes?
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, then the first item on the agenda is G4.
I pulled it. I think we do this yearly because I think it's real important to thank the Gila River Indian community for all they do and have done over the years, especially in supporting all the city initiatives and the nonprofit initiatives. And I know for the Cesar Chavez Committee, they donated over $50,000 in scholarships over the last 6 or 7 years. But I also know, in talking to Mary Allen, that she had some really good information in regards to the actual amounts that have been awarded to the city and other nonprofits over this time. And I thought it would be a great opportunity for you to present that information.
Yes, so this is tracked from 2005 when they started the Proposition 202, the tribal gaming sharing revenues. So 2,856,000 have been come through the city for pass-through grants for community organizations, and there's been 1,212,000 for city projects. So a total of 4,069,000.
And those are community grant awards, right? Not city projects?
Both.
Community grant awards. The city's funds went
Some were
towards.
both. Would you say 2.8 for our community and 1.2 are the city?
Correct.
City projects.
I was wondering.
Okay.
And hopefully we'll have more this time.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments or questions on that?
I just agree with Councilman Varela that it's extremely important that we appreciate and show thankfulness and respect. And they have brought us a long ways down the road, and so we hope to always have that good relationship with them.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll entertain a motion. Oh, yes. Go ahead, I'm sorry. The resolution number, please.
Resolution number 5087, a resolution of the council of the city of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the submission of Proposition 202 grant applications to the Gila River Indian community on behalf of various agencies for the purpose of benefiting the general public of fiscal year 2018-19, authorizing the city manager to execute grant agreements with the Gila River Indian community for any grants awarded to the agencies, authorizing the city finance director to accept and disperse funds as necessary, and authorizing the transfer of budget authority.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of resolution number 5087 as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Gloria, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbon.
Yes.
Councilmember Courtson.
Yes.
Councilmember Varela.
Yes?
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, move to item H, which is public comments. If anybody would like to address the council, I'll open the floor for public comments. Please state your name and give us your address, please.
My name is Aaron Phillip Nelson, and I'm from 1542 North Desert Willow Avenue. Real quick, I just want to address myself as part of the senior class at Vista Grande, and we recently took part of the memorial to honor the students whose lives were lost at Parkland High School in Florida. And afterwards, I saw that what we took part in is very different from what the rest of the country took part in. And I think that is very important to note, because what we did is we drew a fine line on how to honor lives lost that were very similar to ours, and to not push the boundary of politicizing a horrible and horrific event. But when a lot of the community members started talking about it, they kind of conflated the two, and they believed that what we were doing was politicizing the event. And in fact, it was quite the opposite. We literally stood there in silence for 17 minutes. And I just want to say thank you to the community for hearing me out when I addressed the issues, when I talked about how I stood there in silence because one of the lives lost of Peter Wang, he was a 15 or 14-year-old member of the ROTC program there, and he sacrificed his life to save his friends while holding a door open. And that struck a chord with me, because just like me, he was someone that wanted to serve his country in the near future, except unlike me, his life was tragically took from him. And another thing to note is that the response from the community when I outlined how we stood there in silence and we just wanted to honor lives lost, it was very positive, and it was very heartwarming to see that our community members are able to understand what many of the students are going through, and understand that a lot of us, we weren't just trying to get out of class, and we weren't just trying to mess around. When we saw people talking at that event, we turned around and we told them to be quiet. And there's plenty of videos that you can go and look and see. It is a courtyard full of people who are just there to remember lives lost. And I think Casa Grande did an amazing job on setting an example of how to respond accordingly to something awful that happens. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you, Aaron. Thank you. Mr. Powell?
I just would like to say thank you very much for taking the responsibility to come down here and clarify that very important point. And I saw things happening as everybody else did in other areas, but it was not happening in Casa Grande, and I think we should be very proud of that.
One of the things that I actually was originally planning to not take part of it, because I only saw that it was the walkout, and our school hadn't necessarily addressed the issue yet at the time, up until about a week before the event. And originally I didn't want to take part because I would set priority over my education, because when it was happening is my calculus class. And if you miss 20 minutes in calculus, it might as well be a month. And to know that it was something that all of the school staff supported, and it was short, concise, and we were only there standing outside right next to our classrooms, and just remembering the lives lost, I feel was the perfect way to do it. Thank you.
I just, real quick comment also, as my daughter teaches at Vista, and she made the comment to me over the weekend how she was so proud of everybody, because she said there wasn't anybody on their phones, there were no earbuds coming out. The silence, she said you could hear a pin drop. that the students just really honored those students that were injured and killed, and she was very, very proud of the Vista students.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
for coming.
Anyone else like to speak? Okay, seeing none, then we'll close the floor for comments and move to item I1.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Staff is recommending the Mayor and City Council authorize the execution of a contract with Miracle Recreation Equipment Company to provide wood fibers to place into our parks playgrounds in an amount not to exceed $100,000. Community Services staff is currently managing a project in the CIP this year, the Neighborhood Parks Redevelopment Project. That's a $375,000 project. Of that, we've identified $100,000 to replace and update our playground surfacing. We have elected to recommend wood fibers. They're called engineered wood fibers to place in and around the playgrounds. The wood fibers are recommended to be placed around such things as slides and swings at a depth of 12 inches. Periodically, also, existing playgrounds need this material updated so that the safety levels are in the fall zones appropriately. This fiber does compact to make an ADA accessible surface in addition to being great for the fall zones. Staff currently is going to evaluate all existing playgrounds that have engineered wood fibers and make sure that the depth is 12 inches in every playground. In addition, we are renovating any existing playgrounds that currently have sand in the fall zones. Sand right now is not considered an ADA accessible surface. So you can see by the pictures, this is one of our neighborhood parks that has sand for the fall zones. It is okay to put in for the safety, but it is not ADA accessible. So we would remove this down to a depth of 12 inches and then replace it with this type of engineered wood fiber that is shown in the picture.
Steve, this is actually kind of like that fake, it's not fake wood because it's made of real wood, is it not?
Re-engineered.
Yes, it's made of real wood. It's a processed wood ground to a fibrous consistency that's randomly sized, and it's virgin wood, so it doesn't have all of the twigs and leaves and debris that might be in it in regular mulch.
So there's no splinters, no?
Correct. Although wood can splinter anytime, there's just way less splinters, and it has been screened, so it's free of any extra debris.
Okay.
And we have used it before. We're just, in this project, we're just using a rather large amount to update all of our playgrounds rather than just do one at a time.
Anybody have any questions?
What about the foam stuff, that other kind of padding kind of,
Sure.
some parks have that, right?
Yes, you can buy the rubber mulch or the rubber surfacing. They're much more expensive than the wood fibers.
And for cleaning this, like how do you take care of it when there's waste from dogs or
Sure,
whatever? How do we?
sure.
Is it just the rain we count on, or?
Well, the good news is the fibers do compact to make a ADA accessible surface, and so you can also rake it off the top.
Okay.
So similar to what we do today with the sand, we would just use rakes and clean it that way.
Will the wind pick this up?
Not as likely to pick it up as mulch because it does make this surface where it connects to each other.
Any other questions?
No, I just noticed how expensive the freight charge was. I was like, ooh, wish we had a couple big trucks.
You should have got that on Amazon where you had free
Yes.
shipping.
And the freight charges really have to do with where it's manufactured.
Right.
And
And that
so-
was the closest
Yes,
location to us.
this
I
is
do
the closest
understand that.
location that makes this quality product.
So expensive.
Thank you.
It's like 10 truckloads too.
It's 30 truckloads.
30.
Yeah, it's a lot.
30 truckloads.
Okay. I knew it was a lot.
Hopefully nobody will hide it.
Okay, I'll entertain can I get a ordinance, please?
Resolution.
Ordinance number, please? Get out myself.
Ordinance number 3066, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from Miracle Recreation Equipment Company for the purchase of engineered wood fiber safety surfacing, authorizing expenditure of public funds in an amount not to exceed $98,727.60, and authorizing the execution of a contract with or purchase order to Miracle Recreation Equipment Company.
Mayor McFarland, I move for approval of ordinance number 3066.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember McBride?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Cortzen?
Yes.
Councilmember Varela?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. All right, item I2. Okay.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Staff is recommending that the mayor and city council approve a contract with K&M Distributing and Roofing Systems, Inc. with a base amount of $69,900 and a contingency of $15,000 for a total amount not to exceed $84,900 for the replacement of the Dorothy Powell Senior Center roof. Inspections of the existing roof done by staff over the last several years have noted considerable deterioration of the roofing system. And staff has also been required to make several repairs of areas where significant leaks have developed. The current roof on the facility was installed in 1999 and typically would have a 15-year life cycle. After inspection and analysis of the possible alternatives for repairing, replacing, what have you, to address the problems, staff is recommending the replacement of the roofing system. The Facilities Division issued a formal solicitation for bids from competent and qualified contractors to furnish all labor, equipment, and materials as necessary to replace the roofing system. The replacement of plywood decking and the installation of a new Duralast roofing material with a 20-year warranty was also specified in that work. In response to the solicitation, excuse me, 2 bids, each from a local vendor, were received. After review by staff, the bid from K&M was determined to be the lowest responsive and responsible bidder, and therefore recommending of award for contract for this project to K&M. The project is included in the fiscal year 18 budget for the Facilities Maintenance Fund, and those funds are available for this project. I'd be happy to answer any questions I can.
Just a comment. I think it's real important to keep that roof in good shape on the Dorothy Powell.
We're very well aware.
Or someone may come and haunt us.
One comment I should note in my conversation with Nick Stalter earlier today, they have also discussed and worked with the contractor a plan to minimize and almost eliminate any interference to the operation of the facility. They're going to operate out of the south side to allow normal access to the facility, so there shouldn't be any interruption or hopefully disturbance to any of the facility's users.
Excellent.
Anybody else? Okay, Gloria, can I get a ordinance number, please?
Ordinance number 3067, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, accepting a bid from K&M Distributing and Roofing Systems, Inc. to provide a replacement roof, authorizing expenditure of public funds in an amount not to exceed $84,900, and authorizing the execution of a contract.
Mayor McFarland, I happily move approval of ordinance number 3067 as presented.
Second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Gloria, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember McBride?
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons?
Yes.
Councilmember Cortzen?
Yes.
Councilmember Varela?
Yes.
Councilmember Powell?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman?
Yes.
Mayor McFarland?
Yes. All right, next item on our agenda is item J, which is our boards and commissions. On these historically in the past have been put into consent, but then we typically pull them off, so I think staff has gotten the hint and sticking them on as a regular agenda item. So in this, Larry, we just, can I just announce the person and then we'll ask for a, we can just do a yay, nay vote on it? We don't.
It's just voice.
Just a voice vote, right? Yeah, okay. All right, so item J1 is considering the appointment of Terry Emig to the Airport Advisory Board with a term to extend through February 20th, 2021. Terry, this is his second term, so.
I move approval.
Okay.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, I want to thank Terry for his past service and volunteering again for a new term. J2, actually for everybody on our list here. J2, consider approving an appointments for Norm Poole and Mark Kellerman to the Personnel Advisory Board for the terms to extend through January 2nd, 2022.
Mayor McFarland, I move for the approval of appointments of Norman Poole and Mark Kellerman to the Personnel Advisory Board with a term to extend through February 1st, 2021. And I'd like to make
January 20th.
January. I'd like to just make a little comment as far as Mr. Poole. I don't think he's here. He moved back to our community about 2 years ago, but he served for many years on our hospital board, and I served with him when I first got on the Casa Grande Regional Hospital Board. He was a member there, and it's really nice to see that there are people that were very civic-minded and gave it their time, and then for job reasons move away, and then they come back, and then they're giving of their time again. So I just wanted to kind of give him a shout out.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Can I, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so item J2 is approved. J3, consider approving the appointment of Garrett Powell to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board with a term to extend through February 1st, 2021. He's again on his second term as well. So I want to thank Garrett for his past service and his future service. I don't see him here, so.
Is it permissible for me to vote on this?
We don't have a comment.
I have a little favoritism.
He doesn't get paid,
He's not getting paid,
He's
so.
not getting paid.
unlike you.
Mayor McFarland? I move approval of appointing Garrett Powell to the Parks and Recreation Advisory Board.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. The last one, J4, consider approving the appointment to the Police Advisory Board, Gilberto Mendez, Allison Satellino, I hope I didn't butcher that too bad, sorry Allison, Rachel Hernandez, and Joni O'Grady, with terms to extend through February 20th, 2020. And I know a couple of them are here, so if you guys would stand up, please, and be recognized. Thank you for your service, both of you.
Mayor McFarland, I move approval of the appointments to the Police Advisory Board of Gilberto Mendez, Allison Satellino, Rachel Hernandez, and Joni O'Grady, with terms extended through February 20th, 2020.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, item J4 is approved. And again, thank you to all those members of our advisory boards that serve. It is voluntary, and we do appreciate their time and efforts on our boards, so thank you from all of us on the council.
Yes.
Item K, K1. Whatever you want, Chief.
Get the gun. I know, I was being good.
It's not that we don't like them, it's more comfortable. Mayor and Council, the Police Department and staff request authorization and consideration from the Mayor and Council to accept the grant funds from the Arizona Department of Homeland Security for Operation Stone Garden. This year would be in the amount of $197,949. Staff's also requesting authorization for city personnel to execute all grant and contract documents, disperse funds, and perform the necessary budget transfers. These funds would be used for overtime, employee-related expenses, vehicle mileage, reimbursement for officers to continue the coordinated efforts of Operation Stone Garden details that assist the department with the reduction of crime and help keep the community safe. There's no matching funds required in this, just like there hasn't been in any other years. And there's several benefits to the city of Casa Grande as well as the police department with the acceptance of this. So I brought Lieutenant Alan East with me. He is our grant getter and has been working with Stone Garden for quite some time. If you all have any questions, I can answer.
We've been with them for some time, haven't we, with Stone Garden? Or?
It's about 10 to 11 years.
Yeah.
I think since I've been on council.
He's the first one that brought it in. About 11 years, I think.
Are there any specific focus areas that are different, or?
There's focus areas, but probably don't feel comfortable talking to you about them right here. But there are certain areas that, in conjunction with the other agencies and Border Patrol and stuff, that our officers concentrate on.
If we make any seizures on these operations, do they go to ours, or do we split them with Border Patrol? Or, like recovering financial assets?
They go to us.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Gloria, can I get a resolution number, please?
Resolution number 5089, a resolution of the Council of the City of Casa Grande, Arizona, authorizing the city manager to accept grant funds from the Arizona Department of Homeland Security for the City of Casa Grande, authorizing the city manager to execute a contract with the Arizona Department of Homeland Security on behalf of the 2017 Homeland Security Grant Program for Operation Stone Garden, authorizing the city finance director to accept and disperse funds as necessary, and authorizing the transfer of budget authority.
Mayor McFarland, I move for adoption of resolution number 5089 as presented.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Gloria, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Councilmember McBride.
Yes.
Councilmember Fitzgibbons.
Yes.
Councilmember Cortson.
Yes.
Councilmember Varela.
Yes.
Councilmember Powell.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Herman.
Yes.
Mayor McFarland.
Yes. All right, the next item is item K2. Terry?
Mayor and council, this action is...
Should have had Kevin do this tonight.
I'm very sorry, I would have, but Kevin, I believe, is out of town. I'm sorry you have to put up with me. I'm just about over, I think I'm hopefully on the very tail end of a bad bout of sinusitis. I apologize, this is the best I've sounded in probably 8 weeks, and I've been told by many that it's actually an improvement over my normal speaking voice. So please bear with me, I'll be as brief as I can.
I was just concerned about you there.
I appreciate that, Mr. Mayor. The action before you this evening is requesting approval and adoption of a notice of intention to increase water and wastewater rates and fees and to set a public hearing for May 21st, 2018. An adoption of a notice of intention is required by Arizona revised statutes and starts the public review process. This notice of intention establishes the date for the required public hearing, which must be held at least 60 days after the adoption of the notice. As mentioned, that is scheduled for May 21st, 2018. Additionally, this law requires that the city compile a cash flow report supporting the rate and or fee increase. That report must be filed by the city clerk or with the city clerk and posted on the website at least 30 days prior to the public hearing. The target date for that is April 20th of 2018, and staff currently is working to finalize that report. Furthermore, the law requires a copy of the notice of intention showing the date, time, and place of the hearing shall be published one time in the newspaper of general circulation within the boundaries of the municipality, not less than 20 days before the public hearing date. I believe the target published date for that is May 1st. The adoption of this notice of intention to increase wastewater or water fees does not implement any rate or fee increases. This action simply starts that process. I believe a workshop is scheduled for May 7th to review the proposed rates and fees. Following the public hearing scheduled for May 21st, that is when council will be asked to adopt the rate and fee increases in the course of a regular meeting. At that time, council will have the ability to adopt the proposed fees as presented at any level less than presented, but may not adopt fees higher than those proposed. The fiscal impact, the adoption of this notice of intention, this action tonight, does not have any direct fiscal implication. However, it does start the public review process required for the proposed rate increases, which have a substantial implication for the city. With that, I'll be happy to do what I can to answer questions.
Terry, just correct me if I'm wrong, but this doesn't mean that we're going to raise sewer water rates, correct?
Correct.
Or wastewater treatment rates.
Correct.
This
And
just starts the notification so that we can review it.
exactly, Mr. Raines can correct me if I'm wrong on this.
I just want to make sure that's clear.
Correct.
That we are
This isn't
not
saying we
voting to
do intend
raise
to raise those.
wastewater treatment fees. This is just to start the process so that you can review it, and if we need to, we have the ability to.
Right. If I may, for just one small clarification, we do have fees that we are proposing to modify slightly, but the fees are part of the published fee schedule, but they are not the actual service rates. Those, I believe, are going to be reviewed, and there may or may not be a recommendation. Larry certainly can speak to that far more qualified than I can.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we are currently working on our rate and fee schedule that runs consistent with this particular process, and in fact, we'll be posting those on our website as part of this process for all of the fees in the city, starting March the 22nd, so just a couple of days from now, and those fees will be included in that particular document as well.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, can I get well, this is just adopting it, so it's just a roll call vote?
It's just a motion.
All right, so I need a motion and a second.
I so move.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, item K2 is approved. All right, I think we move right to reports. Larry, is there anything else that we have on the agenda? Mr. Raines, anything else on the agenda? Or just, can I move to reports?
Yeah, we can move to reports now,
Oh, yes.
No.
All right,
Going on.
we'll mix it up. Mr. Powell, you go first.
Boy. I would just say that Donna and I were able to attend the graduation ceremony for the ones in the leadership group, and all of you have been there for the graduation part, but it's always really, they were really thrilled with it, the experience, and I was very impressed with the number and the quality of the people that were involved in it, and so I just hope it grows each year, but it certainly turned out good for this year. That's really all I have.
Okay. Mary?
So I came back from 5 days of really amazing conference, and I have Mr. Bob Mitchell to thank a lot for encouraging when I first got on council, of saying, go to these conferences, attend those seminars, you're going to come away with so much. And this one particularly just blew me out of the water. There was just so much, and I'll share that over the next few weeks. And the one thing I was extremely proud of was that Anna Maria Chavez was one of the speakers. She's from Eloy, and I mean, she just was amazing speaker. She's now, she was the first woman of color to lead the iconic Scouts of USA, and from 2011 to 2016. She is so proud of her community of Pinal County, of Eloy, of Casa Grande. She couldn't say enough, and I was like, hey, yes. So now she is the Vice President of External Affairs at the National Council on Aging, and she was addressing about how our communities, and this was really applied a lot to Casa Grande, that we have an aging population, and it's not it's not your parents' aging population anymore. There's all different challenges, but there's also a lot of benefits and all. And so she was very inspiring and gave a lot of information that we could go to. Another meeting that I went to was on infrastructure, and the news is not real encouraging. We heard the headlines and saw the headlines, but there's always that caveat, and at two different sessions, it was that the $2 billion, or the 1.2 trillion for the infrastructure will be coming from, and they kept saying, the states and the cities. 200 billion will be coming from Washington. The rest, we are all going to be expected to raise. How realistic that's going to be, I'm not sure, but it was not promising, and I'm hoping that, we might see something different there. Another one that I attended, an hour and a half, and at first I thought, an hour and a half on the census? Who needs this? It was amazing. They were, and I'm going to share a lot of those materials, Larry, I'll give those to you, and Ralph, I know your wife was really involved with the last one, and they just couldn't impress enough how we need to start yesterday, and which actually we've been talking about that and all, but a lot of good takeaways. Another, because I know I speak frequently on the public access to Wi-Fi, they're really depending on people to fill out their census form online. And a lot of these people will be filling them out not on library hours or other places where they are. And so there were some really good suggestions about businesses setting up, and it could be kind of a cross advertising and that, but again, I'll share that with you. But the census is extremely important to all of us. That's going to tell us how many dollars we get for streets, how many dollars we get for housing, and for other support, and so it's important that we get that. Again, like I said, there's some other things that I'll share with you and all, but it was a very busy time, great meeting with so many council members throughout the United States. That is a huge benefit because you really get to see and compare notes, just so you can sit next to somebody and say, so what are your challenges? Homeless. Huge discussions on the homeless and trying to address those issues. So that's about all I have.
Just a couple things. Dick had mentioned about the Leadership Academy, and I just want to thank the senior staff and the staff that took time out on Thursday nights, especially Kayla Fulmer, who really helped spearhead and put that on. It was a class act, and I look back when I was there on the second class, and then to see where they're at now. And she's done just a remarkable job at moving that forward. And you're right, we really had a class act of graduates. Several of them have already been applying for some of our boards and commissions, so they really took that. So I was really pleased on that. Right. And the other thing is that, hats off to the mayor for the State of the City address. I did a lot of reflection this week because, Aaron that was here, the young man that was here, I spoke to him several times throughout the week, and I'm really glad that he came and shared his citizenship with all of you, because I've had some really candid conversations and this week because, in my world, we had about 8 of our county kids that were making threats, and so I've been dealing with that a lot. So to hear from young people that are doing really good things and are taking these things seriously, hats off to the police department, to the school district, because they were able to work with the students in a productive way. The police were doing their job, but the school district didn't have to allow that. And by them doing that, I think that they helped the quality of citizenship, in our community, and it was a teachable moment for everyone. And so I was really happy that we had some students speak out publicly on social media and even to come here. So I think we're really lucky with the kids that we have. So that's it.
Matt? Thank you. to kind of go with that, the young man that came, Aaron from Vista Grande, we talked about at the youth commission meeting about the walkouts, and I says, hey, make sure that you guys are following the rules. And they said, the kids, it's neat at the youth commission, we have kids from both of the main high schools, and they said, oh, we have it all planned, it's authorized through the district, through the superintendent, so they weren't doing anything wrong, they had it all planned out, and no one got in trouble for it. But they got to show their respect for that. Another thing that goes along with this sad subject, though, is a kind of a positive note with our police department, is all of these threats, all of these things that have happened, they've followed up and they've made arrests and they've tracked down who's making these threats. So I don't think a lot of communities can say that right now, so I'm pretty proud of our police department for doing that. Thank you, guys.
That's all. Ralph?
I'd like to follow up on the state of City of Casa Grande. I think what really struck me was that when you look at the roads and how that was developed, and then the goals and the strategic plan that followed through that, I think this is probably of all the years I've served on city council where we've had a real clear direction of how all of that ties together, and also how it's going to tie into funding and budget choices that we make in the next few months, and also in terms of quality of life. So that's really exciting to see how all these months that we've all invested, council and staff, to bring this together and have a real clear direction. It's really exciting times for us. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
And just to piggyback on that, I did hear, several people after the state of the city that were really pleased that we did go through that exercise. So many companies, nonprofit and profit, go through that. So, I know it's sometimes kind of a pain to go through, and I know staff has really had to kind of, finalize some of it, but we appreciate all your guys' help, and, we think it's important. I hope you think it was beneficial going through all that too, but I think, people are really pleased with that. I know one of you guys, I think Matt mentioned, the roles with the police department. I just went through a training at my church just to volunteer, and it was on safety. And, there's so much of the responsibility is falling on our police department. I mean, because they're talking about when you see abuse, if you're going to a home, in a church role or meetings, and, calling 911 and making sure, they're the ones that have to follow up. And so I think, and then everything going on with the schools, it just seems like there's so much push, to the police department. And so I know you guys are going to be challenged in making sure that you fulfill all of these roles and obligations and trainings. You have to be the end all, when people are calling 911 for so many different reasons. So I'm sure that, you have a strategy and plan, but as, there's so much with mental illness and domestic violence, and now with all the school issues, there's a lot of challenges that you guys are facing, and I hope that you're kind of going through that, planning of how you're going to handle it. I know you are, but so thank you for everything that you guys do. And then lastly, this is just a fun thing. I know everyone's watching basketball, and since ASU's not in it, too bad, and U of A. Go for the underdog, Loyola Chicago. They're the Cinderella story here. My girls go to school there, and my daughter cheered for them, and it's just kind of a fun story. Back in 1963, they were in this situation and won. So we're hoping all those Catholics are out there praying. And Sister Jean, you probably have seen her on TV. I've met her several times, but it's just a fun story. It's kind of neat for them to get this far, and it's been fun watching them. So we're big Rambler
Presbyterians allowed
fans.
to pray for them, or
Pardon me?
Presbyterians?
Oh, yes, of course. Anyone
twice
can.
as long.
Anyone can. So, anyways, that's it for me.
Just a few things that are on my plate. First of all, I have to concede to Maricopa. City of Maricopa beat us in the Battle of the Birds.
Oh.
So
Too bad.
you don't have to vote anymore. But we were going up against Powerhouse. I mean, they're a three-time winner, so they know how to do it. I'm not sure what they do. We need to maybe figure out what they do, but
Don't you have to wear a shirt or something?
yeah, there's a jersey exchange, but
That's right.
he's got to send me the jersey first.
And you're not going to remind him.
I'm sure someone will remind him. And again, as already mentioned, had the State of the City last week. I think it's always good to reflect on where we've been, but it's also good, I think, to look forward and talk about the vision for the city. And there was a lot of work done on it, a lot of help and a lot of work done by this city council that's all sitting up here with me and with staff as well. And I think that we came out with that one statement, which I kind of closed with, and I wanted to kind of read it tonight if it's okay, but I wanted to read our Rose statement. And it's an acronym. We're still, I think at the end of what last Wednesday we figured out what it meant, but now I can't remember it, so it's just.
Stephen.
All right.
Stephen, what is it?
Thank
What's
you.
the last one? Elucidation. Wow. That's a $50 word right there. Elucidation.
Absolutely.
Okay.
That's why we
Suffice it
didn't
to say.
remember it.
So let me just read it again, because I think it's worth repeating. And this is from the council and really from senior staff. So we will leverage the current economic climate, new opportunities, and strong community to improve quality of life, civic pride, and quality jobs. Casa Grande, strategic location and strongly motivated city leadership will honor diversity and provide opportunities for all residents to be successful. By building a sustainable and attractive community, we can create a place where people can safely live, work, and play. And I think that says it all. So, and then we have the focus areas that were developed from that, and you'll see some of those moving forward. I know that we're all committed to help staff and be supported wherever you need help and support. We did the mayor's reading program last week, if last week wasn't busy enough. We also had election training, which I know 4 of us were there. And then the Neon Park was on Fox News tonight. If anybody saw it or not, it was on at the 5 o'clock news. They had Fox 10 down here this morning probably around 11 o'clock, and they took pictures. They interviewed Rena. They interviewed Marge, also in costume.
Of course.
So, so we were on the Phoenix News tonight, and it was actually a nice clip. If you want to watch afterwards, I recorded it on my phone. So, we start our CIP meetings and budget process this next week. CIP is a capital improvement project, so all the departments come in and we review capital improvement projects for next year. We've got the Museum Heritage Hall dedication this Friday. That's at 4 p.m., Friday, March 23rd. So we're going to do a ribbon cutting and reopening of Heritage Hall, which has been closed, I think, for at least a year. It's the historical museum, and it's the church portion. So that piece will reopen officially this Friday. So that's exciting that we have that back open. They pumped a bunch of concrete underneath it and secured the building back up. Let's see, we have a job fair that's March 28th. So if you need a job, the Pinal County Job Fair is Wednesday, March 28th, 10 to 2, and it's going to be at St. Anthony's of Padua. It's in the community center. So get the word out. If you have anybody who's looking for employment, please make sure you let them know, and because there's about, I think there's about 700 jobs available in Pinal County. So we need help filling those jobs. So I think it's 900 if you count northern Pinal County, northern Pima County, because the Arizona at Work covers a part of Pima County. So their list has 900 jobs. So there's a bunch. That's all I've got. It should be another busy week this week, especially with all of our meetings. And I think they go this week and next week, right, the CIP meetings. So that's all I have. Anybody else have anything you want to add? Okay, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn into executive session.
Second.
So moved. I'm
Then
sorry.
moved and seconded. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. We'll move into executive session. We'll move into executive session by 8:10.